Prices are up. Packages are smaller. Going to the grocery store hurts just a little bit more every single time we do it. But the good news is that you have a superpower sitting right on your shelves. And today we're going to talk about how to use it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness, and it is Stocktober. This is a month-long series that I put together to help you bring calm and confidence into your pantries. We can do this. Mindset matters. It matters a whole bunch. Instead of getting stressed out and panicked about everything, just take a deep breath, because you have the ability to create something out of almost nothing. The basic ingredients that you have on your shelves, even if they don't seem like they're basic, even if they're not my version of basic, can create different kinds of meals. You might have to get a little creative about it, but that's okay. That is part of the adventure. It is all about the mindset, and that's what you have to set straight as you embark on this. You have to remember that frugality is not a punishment, and society as a whole likes to make us think that it is. You aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so your punishment is that you're not allowed to spend money, or you're not allowed to spend as much money, or you can't spend money because you don't have any money. And so, it makes us think that it's a punishment. It's not. Frugality is stewardship. It is knowing what is important and what isn't, and other people's opinions are not. Our grandparents didn't panic when their shelves became bare. They got creative, they got resourceful, and now that's what we have to do. If they could do it, we most certainly can. They understood that resourcefulness equals resilience, and being resilient anytime is important. When you approach your pantry with that same creativity, you stop seeing random cans and you start seeing possibilities. There's a ton of possibilities here. We just have to sit down and give them some thought on how we're going to create something out of them. One of my favorite meals is soup, and one of my favorite soups is cabbage soup. I have never once in my entire life looked at a recipe on how to make cabbage soup. I just intuitively threw it into a pot one day, and it's good. And when I do it next year, I'm not going to remember how I did it this year, and it's still going to be good, because it's just one of those things that intuitively I know I can do. I can't walk past a head of cabbage in the fall without snatching one up to bring home. They are good, they are filling, they are healthy, and it's one of the most inexpensive dinners, short of a peanut butter sandwich, that you're going to make. There are so many variations on it that I can't imagine sticking to a recipe per se. I literally dice up a head of cabbage. I grab a big can of diced tomatoes. I grab an onion or freeze-dried onions. I grab a little bit of garlic. I put some stock in there, or just water if that's all I have, or water in a bouillon cube if that's what I have. And then if I'm feeling really frisky, I'll shred up a little bit of carrot, and I'll put either some ground pork or some ground sausage in there. And that creates dinners for many meals, many meals. And it costs nothing. And I didn't look at a recipe. I have never looked at a recipe for cabbage soup. That's just exactly how quickly it comes together. And it's delicious, and it's filling, and it's comforting. Those are the kind of resilient resources that we're going to try to embrace and to try to take on as we look around our pantries. I know you're going to love this part, but before we start anything, you really do need to know what you're working with. And in order to do that, you have to, yes, you're right, you have to inventory. You have to figure out what it is. So you just have to go through and write down, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this, how many cans? And then go through and group them together. Put your proteins in one area. Put your vegetables in another. You know the drill, okay? And that way you have a working list of possibilities, of adventures, of really great meals. But first, you have to know what you have. Meal planning is where stretching really begins. And I know a lot of people are going to hate this, but it's the truth. It's the fact. Once you know what you have, then it is possible to sit down and meal plan to get the most bang out of your buck as far as what you've got for food sitting on the shelves without going out to spend a dime. So let's take rice, for instance, okay? You could cook up a big batch of rice and use part of it one night for stir fry and use the leftover the next night as burrito bowls. And then whatever's left over after that, make some rice pudding. Bam, 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 bam. And you've wasted nothing. You have great food and everybody's happy. Remember, simple doesn't mean boring, not by any stretch. Simple does not mean boring. Beans and rice have fed families for literal generations, and you can make them taste so many different ways. So don't look at it as being boring or restrained. It's actually an opportunity to spread your wings and try some new things. Let's talk about leftovers. Do you like leftovers? I love leftovers. Leftovers are like a gift from the gods. It is a present of time recaptured so that you don't have to expend it the next day or the day after. Leftovers are a great way to save up some of that commodity time that you never get back. You can make more money. You can never make more time. That's one way to save some time so that you've got it for other things. Leftovers are fantastic. If you have chili, all you have to do is add some macaroni and a little bit of cheese, and you can have chili mac the next night, right? Great stuff, filling, comfortable. Mashed potatoes the next morning can be patties. You can fry them up like little hash brown patties. They're fantastic. Random vegetables become soup a couple nights later. Look at all the time you saved, and you don't have to go to the store and buy groceries because you don't have any money to go buy groceries or time or money or anything else. And so it's a beautiful thing. Be sure to label, date, and freeze any single portions that are left over that you don't want to eat that week, because it will come in handy so much on busy days. You'll thank your past self a lot. Okay, now we're going to talk about bulking up your meals because it can be done. Sometimes it's just as simple as a can of chunky soup that can be beefed up by serving it over mashed potatoes or over rice. It expands the meal to be that much more. And so learning different ways to bulk up your meals is a great thing to do. When ingredients feel scarce, you want to look for stretchers. And stretchers are things like grains, beans and lentils, vegetables, or broth and gravy, because it can turn a single serving into an entire meal for multiple people, just adding those extra things to it. Half a pound of ground beef mixed with beans and vegetables easily feeds 4 people. It really does. So it's just looking at different ways to use what you've got to make it look like, an expanded amount. It is an expanded amount because you've added other things into it. It doesn't have to be a matter of not having something. It's a matter of just presenting it in a different way with a little different ingredients so that it equals more. It's a superpower. Let's talk about frugal swaps that work, because there's a whole bunch of them out there, and it just takes a little time and a little effort to find them. You're sitting around tonight, Netflix on or whatever, just kind of search for different things. Search engines are your friend, okay? You don't need the perfect ingredients to make different recipes. Try these simple substitutions because it'll stretch a buck like nothing. Now, powdered milk in baking instead of fresh, huge. It's great. It works fantastic, and it's easier to store. Oil for butter in most recipes. If I'm making mass amounts of banana bread, I'm not going to go through all of my priceless, beautiful butter in my freezer. I'm going to swap it out for oil because it does the same thing. And if you have butter powder, then you can add that to it for a little bit of flavor, but most of the time, you don't even miss it. Applesauce for eggs in quick bread. Do you remember when eggs hit, an astronomical amount for a dozen? You don't have to worry about it. Grab some applesauce. It does the same thing. Granted, you can't poach it and serve it over toast, but in things like quick bread, it works really, really good. Instant potatoes to thicken soup, that's a stretcher too, because if you make just a basic soup, a vegetable soup or something like that, and add some instant mashed potatoes into it, it becomes thick and creamy and delicious and just that much better and that much more filling for pennies on the dollar. Remember that frugality isn't about doing without, it's about doing things differently. Slightly more serious note here, preserve and protect. Those are very key elements to using your pantry, to building your pantry. Stretching also means safeguarding what's already in your pantry, making sure that you are storing it properly so it doesn't get pantry moths, or so it doesn't encourage rodents to come in, so that it actually is usable when you go to use it. It's not compromised. That is just as important as stocking it. Store dry goods in airtight containers. That can be a mason jar, or that can be those lid lock things. That can be, well, as long as it's airtight. Now, some things may look airtight, but they're not. So you want to make sure that whatever the container is, it's airtight. A can with a plastic lid on it, that's not airtight. That just has a lid on it. So it's something to consider as you're going around. If you have that available, if you can spend the money, oxygen absorbers for long-term storage are very helpful with a lot of things. Not all things, but a lot of things. And keep items off the floor. Off the floor is important, and away from the heat, because heat is not good for anything in your pantry. Off the floor is it just keeps it out of any potential harm's way, depending on your floor, depending on your circumstances. Could it be flooded? Could it obtain moisture? Could it absorb anything from the cement? Could critters get to it easier because it's there? All the different things. So a little bit off the floor, not 6 feet, but just a little bit off the floor is the best practice to do. When you find a good sale or a great harvest from your garden, preserve the surplus. Can it, dehydrate it, freeze dry it, whatever you've got available to you. That is how generations before us survived. They survived the lean years by doing that simple step right there. Finding a way to preserve it. Nothing wasted, everything used. Now we're going to stretch beyond food, because while food is my main focus, it also has other things that you store in your pantry. Pantry stretching is a lifestyle. It is not a single habit. It is something that you do continuously, just like getting up and going to work, getting up and brushing your teeth, doing whatever, it's a lifestyle. Replace paper towels with washcloths. That will save you a ton of money. Grow herbs on your windowsill. If you like fresh herbs, that's a great way to do it. Swap or barter with friends for variety. That's a fantastic way to meet people. Small choices reduce waste and build resilience, not just savings. As a community working together, you can have a greater impact on how well you do getting through tough times. So friends, stretching your pantry isn't about going without. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have, it just means that you're going to be doing it more. You're going to be doing more with what you already have. You're going to be finding new ways to do what you do with what you already have, So you just have to spend a little time decompressing and then getting creative, because food is a great way to be creative. And even if it's not top notch, you've learned something. It's still food in your belly, and for next time. It's a great way to make it work. Every time you repurpose leftovers, every time you plan ahead or preserve a bit extra, no matter what it is, freezing or dehydrating or canning, you're buying a peace of mind. And goodness knows we all need a little bit more peace of mind right now. So I hope that you give these suggestions some thought. I hope that you give them a try. I hope that you do something this weekend to build up your pantry and to make use of the things that are there. Do you have a meal or a dish that you serve, kind of like I do my cabbage soup, where you just throw it together and it works and that's what you eat? Let me know in the comment section down below. I can't wait to see what you do, because this community has amazing ideas all the time. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.